Have you ever wondered how the most powerful and beautiful of all angels became the ultimate symbol of rebellion? The tale of Lucifer, the morning star, is one of pride, betrayal, and a descent from grace that forever altered the heavens. Stay with me as we unravel the epic rise and fall of the angel once destined for greatness, but whose ambition led to eternal damnation. In the beginning, before the earth, before humanity, there was heaven, a realm of pure light and divine order. Among the countless celestial beings, one stood out: the morning star, Lucifer. His name meant lightbringer, and he was revered as the most radiant of all angels. He wasn't just any angel. Lucifer was crafted by God himself to be perfect in beauty, intellect, and power. As a cherub, he was second only to God, and sat at the pinnacle of the celestial hierarchy. Lucifer was admired and respected by his peers. His voice was like the sweetest music in all of creation, and his wings stretched far, shimmering with a light that rivaled the stars themselves. He was entrusted with leading the worship of heaven, guiding the angels in praise of their Creator. But as time passed, the seeds of pride began to take root in Lucifer's heart. Lucifer's beauty and power were beyond compare, and soon he became aware of it. He gazed upon the vastness of heaven, seeing the legions of angels who followed his every command, and something dark began to grow within him. A voice, perhaps his own, whispered to him that he was deserving of more. Why should he, the most magnificent of all beings, bow to anyone, even to God? He reasoned that he was capable of ruling heaven better than God himself. Day by day, Lucifer's pride intensified, twisting his once pure devotion into ambition. He looked upon God's authority with envy, and soon he started questioning the divine order. In secret, Lucifer began gathering allies, other angels who felt overlooked or dissatisfied with their roles. He promised them a new kingdom, one where they could be free from servitude, and where he, Lucifer, would rule as their king. His persuasive words, dripping with charisma and conviction, swayed many angels to his side. They believed in Lucifer's vision of a heaven without submission, a heaven ruled by one of their own. The rebellion began with whispers in the shadows of heaven, but soon it erupted into open conflict. Lucifer and his followers, 1/3 of the heavenly hosts, rose up in defiance of God. What followed was a cosmic war unlike any other. Angels who had once worshipped side by side were now pitted against each other, with fiery swords and divine power clashing in the skies. The chaos of battle raged across the heavens, and the skies were filled with the sounds of war. Lucifer, at the head of his army, was convinced of his inevitable victory. But then came Michael, the archangel, a loyal servant of God and leader of the divine forces. Michael, wielding a sword forged by the will of God, confronted Lucifer. "Who is like God?" Michael cried, invoking the very name that defined him. He stood as a pillar of unshakable faith, ready to defend the divine order with every ounce of his being. The battle between Michael and Lucifer was fierce. The morning star, with all his beauty and power, had never known defeat, but he had also never faced an angel as resolute as Michael. In the end, Lucifer's pride was his undoing. His strength, fueled by ambition and envy, could not match the divine justice that flowed through Michael's veins. With a final strike, Michael cast Lucifer down from heaven, hurling him and his followers into the abyss. Lucifer fell, plummeting from the heights of heaven into the darkness below. As he descended, the light that once defined him began to fade, and his once majestic form was twisted into something darker, more sinister. His wings, once bright and glorious, were now scorched and tattered. The beauty that had made him the envy of all angels was gone, replaced by a haunting form that reflected his inner corruption. He landed in the depths of what would become hell, a place of torment and despair that mirrored the chaos he had brought upon himself. In this desolate realm, Lucifer was no longer the morning star. He had become Satan, the adversary, the fallen angel who would forever be separated from the light of God. But even in hell, Lucifer's pride remained. He proclaimed himself the ruler of this dark domain, where he would reign over the souls of the damned. Though cast out of heaven, he would not admit defeat. he would continue his rebellion, this time against humanity, seeking to corrupt and drag as many souls as possible into the darkness with him. As Lucifer gazed upon his new kingdom of fire and brimstone, he couldn't help but reflect on what he had lost. Heaven, the place he had once called home, was now beyond his reach. His fellow fallen angels, now demons, followed him, but they too were forever marked by their betrayal. And the war he had started was now an eternal struggle. Lucifer's rebellion hadn't just cost him his place in heaven, it had sealed his fate as the enemy of God, locked in an endless battle for the souls of men. Yet, even in his darkest moments, Lucifer still believed he had made the right choice. His pride, now his curse, refused to let him see the full extent of the ruin he had brought upon himself and others. For Lucifer, there was no going back, no redemption, only the endless pursuit of power and the desire to one day overthrow the divine order he had once served. Lucifer's fall is a story of ambition, pride, and the consequences of rebellion. If you found this story as fascinating as we do, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to explore more tales from the celestial realms. There's much more to uncover in the eternal battle between light and darkness.